Now, this video was shot 3 years ago. I shot it so that I could show homeowners this video when they're looking for something like this to be done. Now, what exactly did we accomplish by doing what we did in this video? There was 3 sump pumps in this basement that ran nonstop. The homeowners had to listen to those sump pumps run, all 3 of them, constantly. They were on a high water table, and luckily, they were on permeable soil. The purpose of this install was to shut those 3 sump pumps down. We shut 2 of them off permanently, and they never ran again after this install. There was a third that was deeper, and it was in a deeper crock, and it runs about 20% of what it once did. So a big improvement by putting in this system. This will only work if you're on permeable soil. You cannot do this on a clay lot. If it's clay all the way down, this is not going to work. If you can dig and break through a clay cap and find yourself a vein of sand and gravel that runs under the house, this will work. 10 years on YouTube, and we've never shown any of these types of videos. We typically don't share stuff that's beyond the DIYer's capability or young contractor. Now, to do what you're going to see in this video, you need to know you have to have the equipment, the experience, you have to have the qualified tradesmen to pull something like this off. What I'm trying to say is this crew always makes everything look easy. Trust me, when you go beyond 8 feet deep on a dig, things get real difficult. You fight for every foot after that. Again, I typically don't share this. I've never shown this. I know YouTube is one of those communities where we help each other. Sometimes if we put certain videos out, I don't feel we're helping people because I don't want you guys to get yourself in trouble. I wanted to do an intro to this video warning the liabilities that are there if you attempt such an installation. Now, this crew started digging. They prepared shelves to work on. There was a lot of setup time ahead of time. And then when we went to dig deep, we moved fast. You don't stop for a break. You don't stop for lunch. So there's a limited number of homes that could actually benefit from this. So keep that in mind. Throughout this entire install, the safety of the crew came first and foremost. We dug down to the tile that ran around the basement wall, and we wanted to put cleanouts on that while we were there. Why not? You get that chance. I wish it was code that all builders had to make sure that the weep tile on the outside of the house had cleanouts. It's really a shame that that's not code. So that's what we did. There was one time a man went down in that hole, and we weren't, down to 13 feet deep yet, okay? So it was safe. The trench was safe. A couple of us up top, our job is just to watch the soil and how things are looking to protect the man below. But pay attention to that. There was only one time that somebody was down inside that hole. All right, guys, enjoy the video. This big pile of sand will be going back in. This was a sand lot. Unfortunately, they did have iron ochre, terrible iron ochre, however you want to pronounce it. The bottom portion of this sump is perforated. That's why we're wrapping it with fabric. When you dig out a shelf for your excavator, now you lower the machine and you can dig deeper. We have an opportunity right now to cut out a piece of the drain tile for the foundation drain, connect cleanouts going in each direction so we can treat it for iron ochre. Francisco was in the hole for 5 minutes. The soil is still really stable at this point, stable and predictable. We weren't at a depth yet where we started to have collapse and some undermining. Now take a look at this. Tree roots. What do I tell you guys? Cut those big shade trees down. If you have shade trees inside 50 feet, they're going to be in your foundation drain. Big, giant trees that belong in a park, the back of your yard, far back of your yard. You don't want trees any closer than about 50 feet. Look at the iron ochre. Iron ochre and tree roots. They got the two worst things that you could have going on for a drain system in their drain system. Copper sulfate treatment will kill the roots. This is where the dig gets tricky, man. Yeah. This is where all the trouble's going to come right here. It's easy getting this part. Those last three feet, they're going to be a bitch. It's going to fight us the whole way. Hey, just go. You know, I mean, you're paying me to go deep. I said, let's put cleanouts on the tile. I don't know what kind of condition it's going to be in, but it's an opportunity to get cleanouts on the tile.
Yep. Absolutely, best idea.
But that's where the water's coming from. It's not coming from the hole itself, that I don't believe. Yeah. That looks like clay, don't it?
It does. like a gray sand. It's a really fine gray sand.
Let me clean it up a little more.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, for real. Yeah, it'd be great. Not a single man is going inside that sump pump pit. Nobody's going down in that hole until there's 4 or 5 feet of stone in there. You move quick and fast and get the stone in there. You don't want this hole to collapse. Now it's safe. This hole is secure. We're past the point to where it was undermining and where the soil was loaded with water. That's when you run into trouble. Now we brought it up to a very safe level. We can get inside this sump pump pit. We could rake the rock around. We can work our way up from here.
No, aquí, ahí está bien.
Well, when the rainy season is upon us and when the water table is more to the norm, this thing, like this was the best time to put this in. I mean, it doesn't get any better than a drought that's been pretty much since spring.
Yeah,
We've been dry.
right.
You know?
Now, is the pump is in the bottom of that already, right?
No, we didn't put it. We'll plumb it. So it's got a cement floor.
It gets plugged into what electrical outlet?
I didn't bring the electrician because he can't do his job until this is brought to
Right,
grade.
definitely, right?
Yeah, so, but no, I got an electrician come in and
I do know that right there. I have a Christmas light right here.
okay. Well, for now,
That's the closest. cut it in the back and just leave it just like that.
Lo más que tape la pinche piedra, ¿no? Lo más que tape la pinche piedra.
Yeah, so the stone is completely contained. The stone is completely contained. And the iron rock can't plug the stone because there's no soil containing the iron rock. You know, the stone is 3 feet deep, and as you can see, there's no soil. There's no soil, you know, near the basin and the stone around the basin. You know, you get rid of those ingredients and you don't make iron rock. You know.
¿Le esa otra? Mira, te lo meto para poner eso, para
Well,
It's too heavy for the line.
you know, they got those turf mats down
Yeah.
so that we don't damage the.
The turf?
Yeah, we don't want to make work, you know.
Yeah, right.
You know, the grass is kind of thin
Oh, it's horrible anyway.
from the shade.
Yeah. Yep, coming up.
encuentra en el mismo, ¿no?
Well, this undermined all the way to that step. So this whole ledge was ready to collapse. So they had to hurry. Yep. Yeah, they did good, man.
It goes fast.
Well,
You have to.
yeah, you can't stop and take lunch, man. That's for sure. They know it. Yeah, they know it.
This is you doing the digging, though, right?
Yeah.
I'm way past it now.
Yeah.
And this is on the days when I say I'm able to throw up all day at my office with clients and stuff. I always say, beef digging ditches now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's
It's a thankless job. A lot of times.
yes. It is.
Really, it's the labor.
But I don't think I would be in as good a shape at 54 years old if I didn't do this I was so active my whole life, you
You're
know.
absolutely right. You're absolutely right. There's something to it. I mean, it can either beat your body up or it can benefit your body.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, if you do it smart.
You need to know when to stop.
Yes.
You need to know when to quit before you start beating up your body. But you are. You're 54? I didn't know you were 54.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, but thank goodness I don't have no, health restrictions,
Yeah, right.
Well, when we do get a wet time of the year, where we're just getting rain every other day,
Yeah.
this thing's gonna run like mad. This thing's gonna run like crazy. But yeah, we're essentially taking all the footer tile water, and we're 3 feet below that, so we're gonna be dewatering the ground, and we're just gonna, we don't know what kind of veins are marbling. Like you get these marbling veins, you don't know what you got, but
No, especially since all of this was smoke. You have no idea. Eventually we will have to take out, of course, that was the attraction from this part of the parcel was because of the trees. But it's like we barely run our eggs in the summer.
oh,
So much. Oh yeah, this house is cool. It's cool.
now I can't wait for the real wet season.
You want to see how it works?
Yeah.
Work.
Yeah, it's so dry, we're not going to get to really see it kick butt until, the rainy season.
Spring, right?
Yes. want to set the stage for what you're about to see. When we went ahead and put the yard back together again, sprinklers, sod, everything, this filled up. It filled up with water. All the stone, which we had 1.5-inch round rock, really big voids, really large voids. So when the well fills up, when all that stone fills up, that's a lot of water. So I wanted to set the stage for this. When you see down inside this sump pump pit, this crock, this well, you're going to see that the water is already starting to come up. You see how the sides are sweating? That's because we perforated it. So the soil is wet, it's loaded, it's starting to sweat, run down into the sump pump pit. It's doing its job. Also, when we show you this running, because once we get it all plumbed, you're going to get to see what that looks like too. We tied this sump pump discharge into the existing basement sump pump discharge. And you're going to see a ton of iron ochre, however you pronounce it. You're going to see the orange pouring into the city storm drain. And that's because there was a lot of buildup of iron ochre on the sump pump discharge line from the basement. So when we pumped all this water out, once we got this plumbed and once we started pumping all this water out, it really flushed the pipe clean, and you'll see that. If you look closely, you can see some water dripping off the walls of this perforated crock. It's doing its job. This is how it was designed to work. It's going to remove water for several feet. You've seen all the fabric that was wrapped around it. We wrapped fabric where this was perforated. So all the soil that's wet for that 6 feet, it's going to collect water. It's going to pull it in. This is really important. You have to have the sump pump pit this far away from the house. When the pump kicks on, it's going to pull with such force, you don't want sediment to get drawn out from underneath the house, and you'll end up with settling. We dug down to the footer tile to put an outdoor sump system in, and the footer tile is plugged with tree roots. People always want to know, how far do you plant trees away from your house? Well, these trees are 30 feet off the house, and they got in the footer tile and plugged it. As a rule of thumb, you want to cut down all the trees that are 50 feet. Once you're 50 feet away from the house, you're pretty safe. We're ready to start pumping, and when this thing started pumping, it didn't want to stop. Boy, did we move a lot of water. This system really works. Because this is an outdoor sump pump system, there is no check valve. That means when the pump turns off, water comes back into the sump pit. The sump pit's really big, and we filled around the sump pit with 1.5-inch round rock, meaning there's really large voids between the rocks, so they hold water as well. So that little bit of water that returns after the pump turns off, because we do not have a check valve, is not going to compromise the performance of the system in any way. The reason why there's no check valve on the system is because we have winter here in Michigan, and the water would freeze up. When the pump shuts off and you have a check valve in the line, it holds water in the line so that the water won't return into the sump pump pit. You can't do that in the north. That will freeze. Say that the water slowed to the point where the pump didn't turn on for a day. During a really cold winter, that would be all that it would take to freeze that line. The reason why we pumped so much water when we initially plumbed this and then turned it on was because it was allowed to fill up. Now that we have a pump in place, it's going to maintain a certain height of water. We're basically going to keep pumping the water out of the subsurface soil until we lower the water table. And that's exactly what we did. This ran consistently throughout the night. And by the next day, when we came back and returned to check on this pump, believe it or not, we had really dewatered the entire basement. Everything under this house, we pulled all the water from underneath this house. There were 3 indoor sump pumps. We shut 2 of them completely down. They never ran again. This video is now being released 3 years later. The results, 2 sump pumps were completely shut off. The third one, which was in a deeper crock, runs about 20% of what it once did. That's how amazing this system works. But keep in mind, this house is built on sand. It's built in sand. You have to have permeable soil for this to work. Now, another thing to keep in mind, we only needed a 1/3 horsepower M53 Zoller to take care of this problem. We're not pushing the water any great distance. We're lifting the water, and then gravity is carrying it to the storm sewer. So why put a big pump in that's going to raise your electric bill? Yeah, this pump's going to run a lot. Yes, we probably will have to replace this pump periodically. Now, it's been running for 3 years, and it's still running. The original pump, which is fantastic. But their electric bill does not reflect this pump running at all. There's no difference in the electric bill. It's because it's a smaller pump. We don't need a big pump. Guys, do not oversize your sump pump systems. Your clients are going to pay the price. Their electric bill, it's going to show those bigger pumps. They're going to feel it. Not to mention the replacement cost, the repair and maintenance to that pump. It all goes up when you go to a bigger pump. Keep that in mind. Bigger's not always better, guys. No dewatering drainage guys. No yard dewatering drainage guys. No plumbing, no electrical contractors were injured or killed in the installation of this system. In spite of what the peanut gallery wants to say about our deep digs, we are safe, and our record to this day, no injuries, no loss of life. Everybody's making it home each and every night to their family. Feel free to comment because it does entertain us. Your comments speak to your inexperience. The guys that dig trenches for a living, they know what's real. The peanut gallery, well, my advice to you, don't quit your day job. What an amazing system. All of it was done in one day. Now there was some prep the day before, as far as getting all the materials together, dropping off some equipment. But this entire job, from cutting the first roll of sod off and the first shovel of dirt dug to completion, only took a day. I say that because, one, a job like this has to go A to Z quick. You don't have time to screw around. You have to be organized. And I just wanted to brag on my guys. The group of men in this video were certified badasses. If you like these videos, give us a like, get in the comments and tell us. We want to hear it. If you guys want us to start showing you this next level dewatering. I really don't think it's fitting for the channel because I try to cater to the DIY and help the young contractor. But if every once in a while you like me to throw one of these videos together, let me know. This video was sponsored by the School of Hard Knocks. This video is Robert Sherwood approved.
Need me to move my car?
Huh?
Need me to move my car?
Yeah, we're gonna clean out this mat. We don't want to cover you in dirt.
If you made it to the end, thank you for watching. And I'm Robert Sherwood, your host. And until the next video.